Let's get to an ET Now exclusive. It's an interview with the big boss of Pine Labs, a fintech giant today valued at about $3 billion. Pine Labs has closed a new fundraise of $600 million that includes new investors like Blackrock, Kotak Fund. Joining me now is Amrish Rau, a fintech veteran. You can call him that. He had founded Citrus Pay, was then heading PayU after selling the company. Now the big boss at Pine Labs. Amrish, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for joining us live right here on ET Now. It's a big fundraise that you've closed, $600 million. Is this the last one ahead of an IPO that you've talked about in the past that could be on Wall Street?
Look, I don't know, Nayantara. First of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you for this opportunity. I really don't know. The way I look at it is there is tremendous demand for Indian fintech, and we've got very good marquee investors wanting to invest into the Indian fintech sector. So quite excited with this opportunity. We think that over the next 18 months' time, we will go to an IPO. At this point of time, we are addressing the Indian market, Asian markets. So we do see this opportunity to take the Indian fintech story and then take it global. So look, I don't know. There could be another round also.
Okay, so there could be another round as well. But Amrish, can I ask you one question? You're talking about an homegrown Indian fintech company which is going to go global. You've already started gaining market share in Southeast Asian countries. Why does Pine Labs want to IPO in the US and not in India?
Yeah, look, I think the tech stack that we built over the years is a very unique tech stack. And what we do with the regular point of sale terminal and the commerce activity around it is relevant in many, many markets and not just the Indian market. Now, obviously, in the Indian market, we have found the product market fit and we are continuing to grow very well. But we are making good strides in Malaysia. We made an acquisition in Singapore, Malaysia, now opening up the Indonesian markets. What we believe is the fintech story coming out of India is really going into the Asian markets. So we really want to create an opportunity from investors all around the world to go in and invest into Pine Labs when the day arrives. So we do want to take this at the global level.
And, if I were to look at your cap table, just taking off from what you said, it does have marquee investors, not just from India. Now you've got the likes of Kotak Fund that are entering the cap table, but you have marquee global investors as well, whether it's a Temasek, whether it is an Actis, whether it's even MasterCard. So would Pine Labs be truly valued only in a market which has depth and experience like the US?
No, I don't think so. That's the reason. The Indian market per se has become fairly matured. We are getting to see some awesome Indian startups going out to the public markets in India. Now, I do think the Indian market has tremendous depth. I really feel that the reason why we as Pine Labs are very uniquely wanting to go global with this is because our product is also ready to fit into the global markets. We all know about what Pine Labs is doing in India and the successes that we are having here. But we are getting to see very good progress in international markets. So our approach to going international is more in terms of an Indian fintech with solutions and offerings for global. I think the Indian markets per se, there are quite a few Indian startups which are ready to hit the Indian markets, and there is enough depth in the market is the way I see it.
Amrish, I said in my introduction, you're a fintech veteran from India. So before I go back to, more specific questions on Pine Labs, I'd like to get your reaction as well on the Indian startups coming of age, the kind of exits that you've seen, startups buying out old legacy companies, planning, blockbuster IPOs. What do you make of all of this? India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world.
I have to tell you that I'm an avid watcher of ET Now, and over the years now I've got actually bored to look at the cement stocks and the steel stocks. What will be exciting is to see a fintech, to see an e-commerce company, to see a food tech being registered on the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange. And I think that's what is going to happen. 5 years from today, the NIFTY is going to look completely different than what it looks now. And of course, there is going to be a lot more focus on growth rather than on EBITDA. But we're living in a slightly different world right now, where growth is being valued quite a bit. And we are going to get to see some fintechs and some Indian startups which will come to the markets over the next 12, 18, 24 months' time. And I think they're going to have a very good reception. So it's going to be exciting in 5 years' time, where you'll get to trade the biggest e-commerce company in India, or the biggest fintechs coming out of India, or even a food tech coming out of India.
Of course, food tech is going to take the lead, isn't it, with Zomato getting the approval from the market regulator. Amrish, I want to now ask you about the next big moment for Indian fintech. India is, of course, a dominant player in the world now when it comes to fintech, but a lot of you now believe that credit on UPI is the next big moment. Is that indeed true? And of course, Pine Labs took a leap of faith earlier with its buy now, pay later offerings.
See, just as a background to this, so what Nandan Nilekani and his set of friends who actually put the framework together for UPI, and then Dilip and NPCI went ahead and created a beautiful infrastructure around UPI. What we have now in India is we've got the highways for digital payments and fintech completely developed. We as entrepreneurs can build applications and services on top of that. And that is something very, very unique in India, where we have the highways in place. All which we are doing is adding on top of it. We are getting to see a similar thing happen on the backs of data and happen on backs of credit. So when you look at what has happened with the AAs and also the OKIN framework, which is being put into place, there are fintech entrepreneurs which are building on top of these highways, which has almost been delivered to us on a platter. This is not the situation in any other country. So we are in a lucky space, and that's why fintechs have done well. We, as you rightly said, latched on to the opportunity around credit. What we are getting to see is both small traders and consumers are getting ready to accept credit. Just to put this into perspective, yesterday, we actually did 65 crores of installment payment transactions all across India. And this is only offline, nothing in online. I mean, the number is just mind-boggling. Half of India is still not open, but what we are getting to see is people are ready to convert their transactions into 3, 6, 9, 12 months installment payments. And just yesterday was 65 crores.
$65 crores in a single day of buy now, pay later via offline transactions. You're saying that the scope is immense. But Amrish, was also interesting in your case, and it's part of the press release saying that you've processed $3 billion of such transactions. These are not all on UPI either.
No, so this is a mix. So on UPI alone, and there's a very interesting trend which is happening on UPI. You would have gone to the markets and seen these stickers which are being put on the wall. One of the things which has changed through the pandemic is merchants have realized that UPI and QR-based transactions are getting very, very important. And what they want is even digitization of those QR-based payments. And that digitization of QR is now coming on to the regular POS terminal. We are now run rating at about $1 billion of GTV just in terms of digital QR. And I'm not talking about QR being stuck on the wall. This is on the terminal at the point of purchase. A new QR gets generated, makes it very comfortable for the consumer as well as for the merchant. But
this buy now, pay later phenomenon, Amrish, like I said, Pine Labs started it, but others are latching onto it. 24 hours ago, for example, Paytm announced that it's going to be tying up with Aditya Birla NBFC. Bharat Pay's founder, look at what he's betting on with the PMC banking license, and Ashneer Grover is on record from Bharat Pay to say the credit card perhaps is going to be history very soon. the market is large enough for all of you? It's not a winner-take-all market?
First of all, both what Vijay has done and what BharatPe has done is extremely, extremely phenomenal. The kind of growth those businesses have done and the way they have spread digital payments in India is fantastic. We operate in a slightly different market. The market in which we operate is we are operating in the GST plus merchant segment. And there, the software stack requirements is a lot more complex. When the merchants are below the GST lines, what you are seeing is they are feeling very comfortable to move away from cash-based payments and just enter into the digital payments area. So each one of us is going after different sets of the market. And as you're getting to see, there is enough demand for Indian fintech all across the various sectors that we are operating in.
Okay, and I understand that, and I think the recent acquisitions are a testimony to that, whether it's Quicksilver or Fave. Pine Labs pivoting towards now grabbing consumers as a new market. Can you tell us more about that? Because it seems to be a deviation from the old strategy of acquiring only merchants.
So, we are India's largest prepaid card issuer. Just to put this into context, just in FY21, we actually issued out 8 million prepaid cards in India, and that is all on prepaid platform. And these are everything from redemption cards, rewards cards, gift cards, and much more. So almost 8 million of those. So we touch consumer virtually every day. We have a relevant solution to the merchant, now to the consumer. Now what we want to do is we want to consolidate all these services into one single consumer play. We made an acquisition in Singapore, Malaysia. We now have 6 million consumers on our platform in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, about 40,000 merchants out there. Very soon, we'll bring the Fave platform into the Indian market. It's a platform which runs on regular UPI-based transactions, but then tries to own the consumer along with everyday payment transactions. So quite excited with what we can do on the backs of the Fave platform.
My final comments from you before I wrap up. The way you've seen fintech boom, Amrish, whether you're seeing so many players, Pine Labs is also such a dominant player. If I were to ask you, would we still have banks the way we have them today, a decade from now? Would that be a yes or a no?
Look, I'll be the first one to tell you this, that Pine Lab wouldn't have been half a success if we wouldn't have got the support and love from an HDFC Bank, an ICICI Bank, a State Bank of India, and Kotak. The way we've built our model is we believe banks know banking extremely well. We don't understand banking. We don't understand credit. We rather want to partner with them. Bajaj Finance is a partner of Pine Labs. Zest Money is a partner of Pine Labs. They are providing credit at the point of purchase. We are just an enabler of technology. We just want to play on the technology side. We don't want to compete with any of the banks. I really do think that the secret sauce for Pine Labs is the fact that we actually don't want to get into banking.
Because a lot of other fintech companies are saying that, right? That we've not seen banking being disrupted the way it should be. But I guess only time will tell us how fintech and banks together will survive. And of course, credit cards as well. But Amrish, it's always a pleasure talking to you. It's a big day for you folks, $600 million fundraise. It may not be the last before an IPO, but thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.